Good evening, welcome. This is Marion City Council meeting for Thursday, February 21st. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Draper?
Here.
Ms. Atkins? Here. Mr. Jensen?
Here.
Mayor Abowasley?
Here.
Mr. Sternad?
Here.
Mr. Brandt?
Here.
Ms. Gedalia?
We did hear from Councilwoman Gadella that she'll be a few minutes late, so she's traveling. At this time, we have a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, we have no presentations this evening. So we have the next thing on the agenda is a public forum for comments from the public on any topic that's listed on the agenda but not associated with a public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to address anything that's on the agenda, they're free to do so at this time. And I know we have some public hearings tonight and some people addressing the council, so just a reminder to everyone that when you come forward, please speak at the microphone because these meetings are recorded, so we want people at home to be able to hear all the conversation and what's going on. And state your name and your address, and then fill out the yellow card that's sitting at the table so that we have that for the record. Okay, seeing that there's no one coming forward for the public forum section, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Mr. Sternad.
Yes, Your Honor, I have the consent agenda. I would like to make a motion to approve. This will be items A1 through G4, resolutions 27452 through 27466.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented, which includes items A1 through G4 on the agenda and resolutions 27452 through 27466. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. The motion has been approved, and I will turn over the gavel to the Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Brandt?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda with Mayor Abowasley's abstention from voting and discussion as follows. Includes items F1 through F3, resolutions 27467 to 27468.
Second. It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda with Mayor Abowasley's abstention from voting and discussion for items number F1 through F3, resolutions 27467 through 27468. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. I'd like to. Never mind. Never mind. There's an item on there I would not vote in favor of. That's why I'm asking, but I just won't vote. That'll keep us from going through all that. So go ahead.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All of those say no. Motion carries. We have one abstention. Thank you. At this time, I'll relinquish the meeting back over to the mayor.
Okay, go ahead.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 27432, amending the April 1st, 2018 non-bargaining pay schedule to include the IT director, finance director, accountant, library cataloger and battalion chief pay bands, and this was tabled originally on February 7th, 2019.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27432, amending the April 1st, 2018 non-bargaining pay schedule to include the IT director, finance director, accountant, library cataloger, and battalion chief pay bands. Any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor of resolution number 27432, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve resolution number 27433, approving the finance director employment agreement with Leanne Carey, tabled February 7, 2019.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27433, approving the finance director employment agreement with Leanne Carey. Discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 27433, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve resolution number 27434, approving the IT director employment agreement with Terrell Hunter, and this was tabled February 7th, 2019.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27434, approving the IT director employment agreement with Terrell Hunter. Discussion. All those in favor of resolution number 27434, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Your Honor, I move to receive, file, and discuss program documents for the commercial new construction program for the Public Services Maintenance Facility.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive, file, and discuss program documents for the new construction program for the Public Services Maintenance Facility. Discussion. Lon, is that accurate? Commercial new construction program?
This, I believe, is the study for the geothermal, the report that Ryan had reported on about what the potential utility rebate could be.
Which we discussed on Tuesday. Okay. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor of receiving and filing, do we want to discuss that then?
Certainly could. Ryan has all the data if you'd like to.
So we had the discussion on Tuesday, but okay. So is there any discussion? I guess otherwise we're just receiving and filing. Okay. All those in favor of receiving and filing the documents, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay. Motion is approved. And I will turn over the gavel on this item to the Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Brandt?
I make a motion to approve resolution number 27469, approving a construction manager agreement between the City of Marion and Knapp Warden, LLC.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27469, approving a construction agreement between the City of Marion and Knapp Warden, LLC. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those say no. Motion carries. Thank you. I'll relinquish the meeting back over to the Mayor.
I'll ask the City Clerk to note that I've abstained from that vote. Okay, thank you. Okay, next, under the engineering section, we have a public hearing regarding establishing access fees on Winslow Road related to Glen Rock Farms 7th Edition. The public hearing is now open. We have a presentation on this.
Yeah, if I can find a room up here. So basically, this is the area very north of town on Winslow that's extending the existing Winslow Road. The developer extended the So the area highlighted in orange is the area that we're talking about. So the area to the west was the area that was developed. The area to the east is yet to be developed. We briefly discussed this Tuesday that because of some new legal issues, we may not be able to set these by ordinance, but because we went ahead and published the public hearing, we want to have the public hearing, get any comments. We can do the first reading if we want, or we can table it, and then working with legal, we'll figure out a new way to try and get those fees in the future. And hopefully we don't have to go to a situation where we used to do half a street at a time, because we would prefer not to do that, and I don't think council would either. So I would open up to the public then if there's any comment.
Okay. All right, is there anyone in the audience who's here to speak in favor of this measure? Please come forward. Is there anyone to speak in opposition? Let's come forward at this time. Okay, the public hearing is now closed. On this next item, I guess we have the option of tabling it if somebody wants to make the motion, or we can do the first reading.
I'd make a motion that we table ordinance number 19-04.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to table ordinance number 19-04 regarding establishment of access fees on Winslow Road related to Glen Rock Farms 7th edition. Discussion on the motion to table. I think it makes sense. So,
Yeah, I agree.
any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of tabling ordinance number 19-04, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion has been approved.
Your Honor, I make a motion to receive, file, and discuss a letter regarding the saving of historic houses. Cindy Haddish, Save CR Heritage Board member.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive, file, and discuss a letter regarding the saving of historic houses from Cindy Haddish. Any discussion on the motion to receive and file? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion has been approved. Next on the agenda, we have a public hearing regarding 520 12th Street, request for proposals. Public hearing is now open. We'll have a presentation from the city engineer.
Yes, Your Honor. So what we did was we went out and there was basically three options. One was to relocate the buildings. One was to demo the buildings with salvage and palletizing of the bricks, and one was demo without salvaging of the bricks. We did receive proposals for each one of those. The option that we discussed on Tuesday was the Joe Hill proposal, and he is here to present to City Council. And then just for reference, we took away the resolutions for demoing with salvage of bricks and demoing with the without salvage of the bricks pending the outcome of the development committee. So I'd welcome Joe Hill up to come and present. And this is the binder that you guys got with this proposal.
Okay, thank you.
No, I don't, I didn't have Kyle do that.
Okay.
Let's put it in the-
You could state your name and address, please, and then,
Okay.
yeah.
Joe Hill. You want me to use my address where I live or what the property I'm regarding?
Well,
1325 Pacific Coast Highway, San Diego, 92101.
thank you.
I'm sorry, it's unit 2707. I don't do this all the time. So.
Kyle Martin, Martin Gardner Architecture.
Welcome. Go ahead and proceed.
Well, I thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to present the proposal that I did this last week. I put a lot of time and thought and energy and resources so far into the project, as you can see by the notebook that I provided to everybody and all the people that I talked to in the preparation of the material that was put into there, be it from the original idea to the purchasing of the proposed the parcels that the property will go to to hiring the architect and meeting with all the staff, who's been very helpful, engineering, planning, meeting with the mayor and the different board people that I have talked with along the way. This morning I met with, I've had discussions with the biggest component of this project, cost-wise, initially is the moving of the houses, and I met with the movers this morning. Staff let us in with my architect, and Kyle, and we went through and discussed in detail because of the proposals that they had given to the City of Marion, to myself, we're all on the phone via the descriptions. They hadn't been on site. And after going through the houses, it became aware it's a very detailed and tedious process to move two houses. When Kyle and I asked him how much I refer to it as the White House, the smaller of the two buildings, how much it weighed. And it weighs 200 to 300 tons. So it's quite a large amount of weight. And I said, how do you do that? And it depends on, it's the wheels on the trailers they put it onto and the hoist they lift it up to. And they went into very extensive details on how they plan to do it. It can be done. The purpose of the thing is to get hard costs on what it was going to cost, what their charges were on it. And this afternoon, right before the meeting, I was on the phone with Nick Glue, and he told me that they're the tentative number right now, and I got the idea, and so did Nick, that it could be lower, and is that the number would be $100,000 per house to relocate. Now that doesn't account the other stuff involved, but that was just their fees, and that's all my proposal that I submitted. I asked for 50% of the moving costs. There's a lot of other costs that are associated with this, but I just asked for 50% of the moving cost to save the buildings in question. And then the booklet that I prepared to give everybody, I went through the plans and the ideas I had to make it work for the city, for the area, and how the city of Marion and neighborhood could benefit from this relocation of these homes. So I would open up and see what questions that someone would have, and I know Kyle has some renderings and some drawings and different things that are in there, but I know there may be questions that are more specific to the process. I'm not sure what.
Well, would you just address briefly what you want to do with the houses?
If you look at the drawing up here, the rendering, that this is at the corner of 4th Avenue and 9th Street. Taking one house, the smaller white house, would be on the corner directly on 4th and 9th, and the other larger brick house, red brick house, would be on the other side. And then you can point to those. You can see here, you can see the notation on there, basically bookending them on each side, and then the infill would be apartments, and so there would be 1 and 2 bedroom apartments throughout the whole dwelling. And economically, it's the only way to, if you were to move a house individually, and we looked, and I looked at lots of options, if you're going to move a house individually, you're going to have $250,000 to $300,000 in each house. And it doesn't work when you've got a neighborhood that houses may be worth at the top $120,000 to $130,000. This here, by having income produced by the dwellings, by putting the apartments and different things, the rentable square foot, it makes it monetarily work with the amount of money that you're going to spend to do this. So it's bookended in. Infill would be the apartments. There'd be apartments in the older homes. And this parcel here is parcel 1 and 2. I think the parcel number is 42, I believe. I purchased the front parcel, which is 60 by 120. The back parcel is 60 by 120, but it has an existing dwelling on it, which is in the back corner right here. And that's a duplex. And we guesstimate by looking at the abstract that that duplex was probably built in around the 1850s, 1860s. We can't verify that. And it appears to be an old carriage house. And it used to be on a stagecoach run. I can't verify, but that's just what I've been told, and we're doing more research. Thus, I named the corner Carriage Corner, and that was the topic that how we came up with the thing, just to brand it, to make it sort of fun and make it great, make it the neighborhood a little bit different, because the area right now in that doesn't look the best with the vacant lot. This particular lot used to be where the Octagon House was, and that's where if you look at an aerial of it, you'll see a brown spot, and that's where the Octagon House used to be. So there's roughly, I think, Kyle, about 13,000 square feet in the dwelling, and those will all be, and I think how many apartments was that going to be?
Between 10
and 12 rental units, which complies with the code on the parking requirement. And the other, Kyle can speak to the actual dwelling itself and what we propose to do there. So, did that answer?
Yes.
Anything?
Okay. Any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
I've got a couple of questions. One of my key questions is how would you manage this kind of a project? You live in California.
Correct.
So how would you manage this project, especially with the front end of it, needing to move the houses, which is the most timely part of it, and how would you manage that and keep within a tight timeline since you live in California?
Okay. Very good question. I grew up in this area, and that's why I put in the thing there where my mom and dad lived in Marion. I come back every 2 weeks. I come back every 2 weeks to see my mom.
Okay.
And can you talk for a little?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, and Joe's been great to work with so far. He's been relatively constant contact through this process. He's energized about it, and it's a really interesting project that, like I said, it's been educational for both of us. We've been learning a lot, and me being close by, I think Joe is able to lean on me to help coordinate from the architectural side. And as we go through the contractor selection process, we'll be kind of equally looking for that level of contact and attention that this type of project would demand. Because obviously, with neighbors close by, some of them long time, some of them not used to this kind of thing going on in their backyard, they'll need that kind of attention and that kind of coordination to make sure that their needs are met in the neighborhood as well. So.
Mr. Hall, I think it's also important to note that you are buying other historic houses and preserving them. And
correct. And I'm sorry, I get emotional about that there. I have like 9 other parcels that I have that I'm currently working on. I'm working on some other ideas. As far as, a lot of people call this area their primary residence. I call it my secondary home. I grew up here. I love this area. I wouldn't do this if I didn't care about the area and I didn't care about what I did. And I see an opportunity to save something, and I ask myself why. And I'm going, why not? It's the right thing to do. And, at the point in time where I need to hire somebody locally to assist me, I will do that. When it comes to management of the properties, there's a lot of options and stuff like that. I have family here, but I'd most likely lean on others and different people. In the course of just doing this project here, I've met anybody that knows me. I'm very personal, and I talk to everybody. And you find out what people are good at and what their strengths are, and you employ them to assist you in that way there. So I'm very hands-on. The properties that I have, I hire I take care of apartments in San Diego. I own and manage apartments, and I find that you delegate what you can't do to others. And this thing here, you would be in a position to delegate that, and you trust people to manage it. I'm very hands-on, and I don't have partners. I fund it all myself, and it's harder in money, and I want to make it work. And I think it's on all the things that I'm working on. They're all very interesting, and I've shared with Kyle's drawn up. We got some renderings on some other stuff we're working at. It's very forward thinking. And I use the mayor's comments. I'm a dreamer. I'm going. You look to the future. I'm an optimist, and I always think that you can make things better and make an impression. And I live on my mom and dad's memories on what they taught me and different things. So I love coming back here. So. But did that answer your question?
Well, yeah, that part. We love the project, by the way. I think it's exciting that you did step forward to do this. And by a side note, my wife worked with your mom when she had the Cedar Rapids location, and that cost me more money than she ever earned. Anyway, that probably is the case with most people that work there. She had a neat shop with a lot of neat stuff. Can you talk a little bit about the timeline for moving these two houses? Do you have any idea now? I know your proposal talked about you may need to go past May after talking with the movers. Do you have a better idea of any kind of a timeline yet?
Yeah, the timeline did come up this morning with the guys. I said, the city wants this done in May. And he goes, we're backed up right now with 8 projects. But I said, what can I do behind the scenes to make this work? And he said, well, number one, you got to get the basements in, you got to get the sewer, you got to get the water, you got to get it all proposed that way there, and communication. And I believe that, and that's why I created a timeline in the back of the book, to be as efficient as I possibly can. There's some issues that have to be resolved beforehand, there's some minor zoning issues, and there's some alleyways that need to be pursued for setback requirements and different things, and it's best for the city to clean it up. The house that's there now encroaches over the property line and everything. And so once we get, I've done everything I can without having the rights to do it. And so I'm sitting on the sidelines. I close on the back parcel on the first part of March. I closed on the front parcel just this last month. So I'm pushing it through because you tie in that kind of money, I want to get it where I can, when the weather gets nice, you want to make the most of it. So when you're butting it up, it's funny, on the back of your booklet, I put in there that I want to have the thing open by December of 2020. I want to have renting apartments and different things on the, but I don't know.
Any other questions for Mr. Hill?
I had one in that, I think your elevation is pretty good over there to move these.
It's flat, yes, it is.
And did we not sell you part of that alley? Seems
Yep.
like.
You sold me the alley over on my 8th Avenue properties,
Okay, yeah.
and that's a separate project that I'm working on over there.
Okay.
Yes, so you're correct, you did sell me now, but not on this property.
Anybody else?
Well, I would share Mr. Jensen, and it's an exciting, to me, it's an exciting project. Think that we might have a way, and I realize that some of those homes, you may have to forego the addition on and save the brick portion of them over here. And that, according to your drawings, that would still work fine if you had to take the additions off of there, and because you're going to build in between them anyway. So.
But it's important to me that to match architecturally and to match cosmetically, that it keeps the same character. And I'm very, I want a certain look. I want this to be high-end stuff. I want it to be nice stuff. And I want to make it look, like your building. When you go by your building, you go, wow, that looks nice. I want when you go by, that is nice. And working with Kyle and my stuff that the stuff that I have in San Diego, I want nice stuff, and I want this to be nice. I want something, this is where there's a lot of pride of ownership, where I think it will positively impact the area. I don't want to, I don't want something that doesn't, the way it looks right now. And I say that if you go up there on 4th and 9th right now, the vacant lots and the dirt and the different things. Part of the deal when I purchased the home that's up there right now was that I wanted to have it vacant. And so I'd rather have it vacant to work on it, and because I want it to be first-class stuff. So the home that I bought now, I call it the carriage house, ties into this beautifully because it's also brick. It's aluminum siding on the outside, and underneath it is brick, and I want everything to be red brick. I think that ties in with downtown Marion. I think there's a nice look to it. So it's pleasing to look at.
Doesn't look like much right now.
To me, it's an exciting project. I didn't have anybody that ever worked for your mother. I played golf with your dad a little bit, so I believe in what you're telling me to be, what you're going to do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking this on and making the proposal.
Thank you. I appreciate the time, and I think that that I'll do my best to make it all work. And I've tried. The other thing that wasn't in there, and one of my preferences in hiring Kyle to do the different thing. I believe in the community, and I like to give preferential treatment to anybody that has a business in Marion on anybody that I hire. I like hiring local people for it, where there's a pride in that they drive by and said, I worked on it. I think that's important. So I think that's makes for a better development. So, but I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we'll continue on with the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Well, I guess there's... Are we asking people to speak in favor or against the preservation of the houses, or
We did get one email that we got forwarded to you guys. That was a call that came in of someone wanting to save the building, that you guys should have got your email today.
Yeah.
Other than that, we haven't got any other response other than the Save CR letter that you guys received and filed previous to this
I guess
item.
I'll just open it up. If there's anyone here to address the council on this matter, please come forward at this time. Anyone at all? Sir?
Nick Glue, President of Marion Economic Development. I guess I'd just add some points that I assume we're all thinking about. I mean, obviously there's the historic preservation piece, but we've been looking at really this part of the community for a long time as you talk about creating ways that we're reinvesting in neighborhoods, some of the neighborhoods that are older neighborhoods within our community. And I think projects like this really have the potential to begin to be a model and to be a visualization for how other people in these older neighborhoods can really show some love and reinvest in their properties that benefits the city, benefits our schools, it benefits our neighborhoods, and ultimately our communities. So, and also just to add to Mr. Jensen's question, it's been fun to learn about this project over the last month as Mr. Hill has put it together. And I would say we work with projects that obviously have much larger dollar amounts attached to them. And I would say I've had an opportunity to sit personally with Mr. Hill probably 200% more than oftentimes when we see projects that have millions and millions of dollars associated with the price tag. So I think this is a great project. Obviously some tricky moving pieces, but I really thank you guys for considering this thing that I think has multiple wins for our community. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else to address the council, either for or in opposition of what has been proposed here? Please come forward at this time. This is the public hearing on this matter. Okay. We will close the public hearing.
Your Honor, I make a motion directing staff to receive, file, and refer to the Economic Development Committee with 7 Hills East LLC in an amount not to exceed $100,000 regarding the relocation of 520 12th Street.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to direct staff to receive, file, and refer to the Economic Development Committee the proposal of 7 Hills East LLC in an amount not to exceed $100,000 regarding the relocation of 520 12th Street. Discussion on the motion. Okay. I will just say that I'm personally thrilled that we're at this point because a few months ago it was sort of a foregone conclusion that we were just going to raise these houses. And we still don't know if the project is going to work, but we're at this point where we're at least exploring it and we're giving some real consideration to it. So I think we've done the right thing for the community, for the history of Marion, and for the future. So I'm really pleased that we're at this point of even seeing if it's doable and if it's going to work. So, any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion has been approved. We have another public hearing at this time on 525 11th Street, request for proposal. Public hearing is open.
So basically, similar story. We got the option that we've already had the proposal on. That was a joint application. We also did get quotes for demo with salvage of bricks and demo without salvage of bricks, just for consideration. The only one that's on the table today is the moving of the building to the Economic Development Committee.
Okay. Is there anyone here to address the council on this proposal? 525 11th Street, request for proposal for the relocation of the house. Please come forward if there's anyone here to address the council on that matter. Okay. We'll close the public hearing. Mr. Ned.
Mr. Honor, I move to direct staff to receive, file, and refer to the Economic Development Committee with 7 Hills East LLC in an amount not to exceed $100,000 regarding the relocation of 525 11th Street.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to direct staff to receive, file, and refer to the Economic Development Committee the proposal of 7 Hills East LLC for the relocation of 525 11th Street in an amount not to exceed $100,000. Okay, discussion? And again, I'll add to my prior comments, I want to thank our staff and the council for undergoing this process and for putting the brakes on things and exploring the possibilities and the options. So, any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion has been approved.
Your Honor, I make a motion to receive, file, discuss, and approve the engineering department work program.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive, file, discuss, and approve the engineering department work program. Discussion. Are you going to?
I don't need to present. The only thing I did do is I printed off another copy if it's a little clearer to read.
Yeah.
Why is it's a 13-page document that I won't page, but it will be on our website, and that's what we will use as our template moving forward with our engineering newsletter that we send out.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion's approved. Ms. Gadela.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project calendar regarding the 2019 sanitary sewer maintenance project as follows. A, motion to retain the city engineer as project engineer regarding the 2019 sanitary sewer maintenance project. B, resolution number 27470 approving resolution of necessity regarding the 2019 sanitary sewer maintenance project. C, resolution number 27471 ordering preparation of detailed plans, specifications, notice of hearing and letting, notice to bidders, form of contract, and estimate of cost regarding the 2019 sanitary sewer maintenance project. And D, resolution number 27472 approving and adopting final plans, specifications, notice of hearing and letting, notice to bidders, form of contract, and estimate of cost regarding the 2019 sanitary sewer maintenance project.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the project calendar regarding the 2019 sanitary sewer maintenance project, which includes retaining the city engineer as project engineer, and the accompanying resolutions 27470, 27471, and 27472. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion's approved.
Your Honor, I make a motion to receive, file, and discuss letter regarding request for the city to pay the improvements along Robinwood Lane, Chad Pelly, Rookwood Estates, LLC.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive, file, and discuss the letter from Chad Pelly, Brookwood Estates LLC, regarding the request for the city to pay for improvements along Robinwood Lane. Discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
Your Honor, I make a motion directing staff to negotiate a memorandum of agreement with Rookwood Estates regarding the installation and improvements along Robinwood Lane.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to direct staff to negotiate a memorandum of agreement with Rookwood Estates regarding installation of improvements along Robinwood Lane. Discussion?
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Just because I missed Tuesday, if you could go through that real quick.
Sure. So I won't go through the long memo that's in there of how we ended up here, but basically, looking at your screen, there's these two parcels that are owned by different individuals that they bought on tax sale. If we do not install this section of the street that would be between these two parcels, we're going to have a 60-foot gap. That's going to mean more work for fire, police, everyone, so it just makes sense to have the developer put it in while we're building the subdivision. It's about $10,000 per lot, and I know we previously tabled an ordinance putting access fees on it, but this is a small enough amount that we should be able to find a way to either put a lien or do a special assessment. We'll work that out with legal on how we get that money back, but we'll get it back from those two parcels. There are parcels that are buildable. They're only 60-foot wide, so it's not going to be a very wide house, but you can get a house that meets all the zoning requirements.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions or discussion? All those in favor of the motion to direct staff to negotiate the memorandum of agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion's approved. Mr.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to receive, file, and discuss a petition regarding additional no parking on Lions Lane.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to receive, file, and discuss the petition regarding additional no parking on Lions Lane. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion to receive and file, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion's approved. Mr. Brandt?
Your Honor, I make a motion to receive, file, and discuss the TAC report regarding additional no parking on Lions Lane.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive, file, and discuss the TAC report regarding additional no parking on Lions Lane. Discussion. Okay. All those in favor of the motion to receive and file the report, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion's approved.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 27473, approving a no parking zone on the cul-de-sac of Lions Lane.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27473, approving the no parking zone on the cul-de-sac of Lions Lane. Discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion's approved.
Your Honor, I make a motion to receive, file, discuss, and refer to TAC a request regarding no parking extension or enforcement along Saddleback Road. Darren Fullerton, 365 Saddleback Road.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to receive, file, discuss, and refer to the TAC, Traffic Advisory Committee, request regarding no parking extension or enforcement along Saddleback Road. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor of the motion to receive and file and refer to TAC, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion's approved.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve ordinance number 19-03, approving rezoning from C4 warehouse commercial to PDR planned development residential for property at 2274 Fifth Avenue, This is by the City of Marion and is the second consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 19-03, approving the rezoning from C4 Warehouse Commercial to PDR Planned Development Residential for the property at 2274 Fifth Avenue. This is our second consideration. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor of resolution number ordinance number 19-03. All those in favor of ordinance 19-03, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion is approved.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 27474, the site plan review with terms and conditions of agreement related to ordinance 16-09, rezoning property located south of 6th Avenue between 8th and 9th Street. This will be Perry Development Partners.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27474, approving the site plan review with terms and conditions of agreement related to ordinance 16-09, rezoning property located south of 6th Avenue between 8th and 9th Street. And I believe Mrs. Perry is here to address the council on this, so.
Perry's having a little trouble with the technology. Sorry. Thank you. Hello? It's been 2 years, and I'm back. So, as you all know, about 2 years ago, in August of 2016, we rezoned a block that faces 6th Avenue. And at the time that we rezoned it, we talked about presenting a site plan, and it has taken us about 2 years to finally conceptualize a site plan that both helped us realize our goals, our core values as developers, also allowed us to help you reach your goals as a City of Marion following your guidelines for the Central Corridor project, and also helped us understand the best use for this property. So as we sort of move forward, I want to do a quick review of where this property is. So this is actually Historic Marion Block 26, and we have purchased the forward-facing block as well as the houses that face 9th Street. And this block is very transitional. We are not part of the historic district. We are not part of the Uptown district. We are not actually part of the Central Corridor plan. We, however, in October of last year, were annexed to the Interim Development Overlay District. And when that happened, we had to accommodate certain guidelines for design and development. But before we move to that, I want to take a quick look, sort of, again, where this block is. So, with potentially Rachel's help, move it over. I think Jack and I are also very excited about the proposal that was put together by Mr. Hull, was it?
Hill.
This was Hill.
Yes.
This is the first we heard of it, and I think it is a really wonderful example of how we repurpose property in Marion. So we all love...
Would you mind speaking in the microphone, because
Yes.
these are recorded, these
Yes.
meetings? Thank you.
We love our Uptown. I, like Mr. Hull, also grew up in Marion and came downtown. We called it downtown at the time, all of the time. And all of the houses that were sort of around downtown were neighborhoods, and they still are neighborhoods. So when we purchased this area, the first house we purchased was this red brick building, which is actually a sister building, I think, to the building that Mr. Hill is going to purchase. And then our understanding is there's 7 of these sisters left, and we're delighted that one of them is going to be moved. We wished we could have moved it, but it just didn't work with this property. So this particular house, we purchased all of this right here, sits in a neighborhood. As I said, we're not uptown, we're not historic. Our house sits among stucco houses. Our house sits among old Victorians. Our house and our development sits across from the VIP, which is a cement building. Sits across from a couple Morton buildings, 2 of those, and we're 1 block from uptown. So initially we had hoped to save all 3 of the houses that were on this half a block. We were able to only save 1. There she is right now, and we've renovated the inside. So what we have here, however, is our hope for putting forth the design. So one more little take a look at history. One of the things that inspired me as I did this was your Central Corridor Plan, and I assume you've all seen this. It's actually been in the works for 19 years. This one was updated in 2009. And when I first read this, I was inspired by what you were doing, the infrastructure projects, the roundabout projects, and then your goal was to cement Marion as a destination, to invest in capital improvements such as the roundabouts, and that would lead to private redevelopment, which Jack and I and Mr. Hill are doing, and then rally residents around positive change, establish the multi-purpose trail as part of that backbone of commercial and economic development. I loved it. I was completely inspired, and that's what actually caused me to spend a lot of my husband's money on old properties in Marion. The other thing that inspired me was this Robert Brooks marketing plan, which if you haven't read it, it's fantastic. And the Chamber of Commerce and Medco have done a beautiful job of implementing so many of the things in here. One of the things that we're all trying to do is to expand what's available in Uptown and on this block as far as retail and restaurants. Specifically, Robert Brooks, if he actually does exist, but Roger, thank you, suggested year-round market. They suggested festive lighting. They suggested specialty food stores and toy stores and a bike shop and professional services. This inspired me to think about those businesses that are in our areas, Cedar Rapids and beyond, that might be better repositioned for Marion. And so I went about curating these and making some pictures and hope to make some exciting announcements later. The other thing that inspired me were your Imaginex committees that got residents together and talked about things they would love to see in the Uptown area. And again, a plaza for year-round gathering, festive lighting, focal points, art, all of these things. So, hang on here. What we came about was this design. And we particularly love this design because it hits our markers for our redevelopment goals, which is to provide something that is both a destination, visually engaging, areas where small businesses and artisans can afford to open up shop. Most important to planning and zoning, and I've always worked very closely with them, was that we accommodate the guidelines. When we were annexed into the interim development zone, we had to accommodate the guidelines that you see here, that 75% of the wall area that faces 6th Avenue has to be glass, has to be brick, has to be architectural concrete panels, textured concrete block, and architectural steel or stone. So that's exactly what we propose here. This is what it looks like from the top. And again, I was very mindful of your goals, and so I went back to the Central Corridor Plan, and one of the things you specified there was that no off-street parking be between the building and the street. You don't want a strip mall. I don't want a strip mall. So what we've done is we've created a building with suites made of glass and architectural steel and stone, and a beautiful green space in the front. And here we will program this area with smaller kiosks and carts and artisans and jugglers and street musicians. I will work with businesses around us. So the Roots Flower Shop will sell flowers in a cart. She'll do sunrise yoga here. So this will be a space that all of us can use as we would use the Uptown Park. We also were very careful to make sure we focused on the multi-use trail, which was the heartbeat of the original Central Corridor plan. And I look forward to the day that when this thing connects us to Newbo, and we have an exchange of bikers and walkers and joggers all up and down our area, and this multi-purpose trail is our sidewalk. So we're very excited about that. So a place for year-round gathering, bike racks, use of the multi-purpose trail, these are all things that we were very careful to put into this design. Also, to the ImagineX project, we have gardens in the front, we have native plantings, we have room for specialty retail, and I think if there's one thing that has eluded Marion for a long, long time, it's shopping. We have some great stores that have cropped up and they're surviving in areas that there's not a ton of parking. I have plenty of parking in this area. And so we'll have a beautiful push-pull between retail down on our block and then up at Lillian's and then over to Scout and over to Joy. And so we'll begin to have a very walkable area where people can park perhaps in the parkade or I hope ride their bikes with their families, park their bikes in this area, and then shop all over Marion. Also, I will have parking in the back. I know it was a big goal of this council when I first presented here 2 years ago, and I imagine it still is, to not stress the available parking. So there's 22 spots now all around this block. I will add parking in the back through an alley so the tenants in these suites will have a place to park. We'll also we'll make the back live walls. So it's also a place that you can come and take a look at art in the form of live plants. There'll be a sidewalk back here. I couldn't get the PDF into this PowerPoint, so if you'll bear with me, old school here. Questions about, and I know this is just a design site plan. We will work closely with the engineering department. I've already met with them 3 times. Very good understanding of what it is they want to see from a water management point of view.
The microphone.
So,
Thank you.
I apologize. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And you all have you have a packet. This was in the packet. So if you have any questions about this, I'm happy to answer them.
And I guess I'll point out that you have a plan for an outdoor seating area next to the brick house.
Yes.
Between this building and the brick house.
So, thank you for reminding me. So the west end is the whole block. And the red brick building, 809 6th Avenue, we kind of refer to it as Keyes House because Maynard Keyes bought it in 1860. It's only had 4 families in it, which is really phenomenal for this, and it's in beautiful shape. We have completely renovated the inside. There's an apartment upstairs, and I have been diligently courting every possible coffee shop and restaurant for that lower level. But that house will be sort of the crown jewel of the block because it's historic, and then notes of this house in the red brick as well as the corbels will be carried over into the new build, and will all work together. And as Mayor Abawasley points out, there's going to be outdoor seating next to the red brick house, so the restaurant will have outdoor seating, and that will have a beautiful synergy with the rest of the building. But in front of the new build, there will be place for people to sit. On the planters, we'll have tables. There's a beautiful porch area for each of the retailers so they can put a table out there if they're a restaurant, or they can use that space to promote their goods and services.
And we did have this presented to us on Tuesday also, so people asked questions at that time. But is there any other questions that you have For Mrs. Perry while she's here, yes. Ms. Gadela.
I think that the live wall concept is really interesting. What happens in the winter? Like, what can survive the polar vortex, for example?
I love this question, and I live this. I've been living this for 2 years. And what I would like to do, I will take down the vines, and then I'm going to challenge the high schools or the middle schools to make light designs on the back. So we'll use Christmas lights, and they'll be able to use the fencing that goes up that we grow live vines on to actually use those to make excellent light. And then again, it's something that people will want to come and see.
Neat. Thanks.
Mr. Jensen.
Just a couple of comments. First of all, I love what you're doing with the entire area, the ambition you have, the vision you've put into it, especially with a large grassy area, some of the events, smaller events that you might be able to do with that. And with this design, again, this is a significant change from the original concept that I had seen with you, from having 3 separate buildings besides the old brick house to going to one. So you put in the overhanging porch in front, I think, which is a nice aspect with this design. But did that design affect what will be the number of businesses that can be in here, or maybe the success that you think it might have?
There's a ton of flexibility with this design. Right now we see 6 suites, and they're about 868 square feet each. And I have toured all kinds of cities and believe that that is the sweet spot for a small business. It is plenty big enough to display just about any manner of goods and services. It's also plenty big enough to do a small restaurant. So I was careful about that number. I am right now dedicated to getting at least 3 anchors. So there will be at least 3 existing. These are businesses that exist today. They have existed for 100 years. They have already a strong customer base. And I'm dedicated to at least those 3, and I'll fill in with 3 small businesses. In addition to that, I will use the space in front for very, very small types of businesses. So these are folks that have outgrown the farmer's market, want a dedicated space, whether it's a kiosk or a cart that is theirs all summer long. So we'll use that space for very small businesses as well as the anchors in the back. The anchors in the back are foundational. They're 365 days a year type businesses that are always going to draw business into Marion, to this block in particular. And then in the summertime, when we have the smaller businesses, the smaller artisans, they will actually become the focal point because they will change all of the time. There'll always be excitement down there in the summertime, and that will support the anchor businesses.
One more quick question. Then earlier you talked about the artistic aspect that you want to add to the street viewing. Can you talk a little bit more about that? And is that still your intent?
Yes.
To follow through with that on a variety of scales? I think that's kind of a neat concept as well.
Absolutely. I am in love with Marion's art history, from Campbell Steel Gallery to the new alley with the art in it, plus, in my mind, the antique stores, because these vintage, one-of-a-kind pieces are part of our heritage. And I believe that we can do a lot more to expand Marion as a place to come to celebrate all kinds of art. Old art in antiques, new art in artisans. The building in and of itself will have, as you can see in this picture, of course, the live walls in the back, but also murals on the side. And one of the things I love about the murals on the side is I will work with the local photographers, so this will be a backdrop to senior pictures. It'll be the kind of things that the kids want to have in the back of their pictures, whether it's a flag, as you see here, or, you can't see the other side, or some other kind of graffiti or something that would be really fun. The front of these buildings also have art at the top. So whether you simply are on the roundabout and you look over and you see the festival lighting and the art, you're going to think, I'm going to come back there on Saturday. Or you're riding your bike, I want to stop and take a look at this. I want the building in and of itself to be something of an attraction. So we'll open with some art, but I hope over time it'll just get richer and deeper, and there'll be more ways that our regional artists can express themselves, whether it's sculptures in the front or changing murals along the side of the building.
I think Councilman Draper had a question.
The thing I'd like to say is I disagree with you in one area. I think it's much more of a historical district than you believe it to be. I'm sure the abstract on this house is 1800 some.
It is.
The insurance agency just moved across the street into a building that the railroad owned. Used to be a sidetrack there that would pull up there, and they used that for a warehouse. Later, it was Hutton Fish. You might remember that. It's now part of the Sheets Horse Draper Insurance Agency. So historically, I think, we're talking a block away. Historically, if we were all really nice to Tom, sitting over there, between 8th and 9th, the city owns a non-parking lot. It's a non-parking lot because it's gravel, which isn't allowed in the city of Marion. If it were handled properly and asphalted, it would gain a lot of parking for your customers as they come over to those businesses. So, Tom, I'm not going to let you go on this. You know that.
Well, you should know, Tom, that your associate, Dave's already promised me that parking lot. So, yeah, he has already included that in the number of spaces that I have. That helps me qualify.
Were there any other
So,
questions
we're ahead
for
of you
Mrs.
there.
Perry?
I think it's going to be a great thing, and I think we have reached a point where we will handle that parking lot, and that's going to be helpful to the whole area. The building that was the railroad building does have some parking over there that could be utilized for special events for you.
Our good friend over at Zio Giano's also owns a parking lot right across from our development, and we've already been talking with him about how we can use that parking lot.
Right, he owns that bar across the street there, and a portion of that lot, so
and John
could be
Fillmore
parking in there.
owns the other part of that parking lot, and we are neighbors. I mean, Jack and I bought Eli's house at 529th Street and talked with him about the parking lot. I talk with John Fillmore all the time. His snowblower broke, and so I've been doing his sidewalk. And so he knows I'm very interested in that parking lot. So there's a lot of really good relationships that are being built that I think will help all of that.
And as he makes, if he makes them asphalt that parking lot, perhaps Tom could go across the street.
So we need to keep proceeding here with the public hearing, but thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Could I just ask that we get this removed, please,
Oh,
for the rest of our meeting? Thank you.
Or I guess it wasn't a public
No,
hearing, it was
yeah.
just a resolution. Okay. So, is there any further discussion on this resolution, 27474? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion is approved, approving the site plan review. So, and then we move on to Mr. Brandt.
Yes, Your Honor, I make a motion to approve Resolution 27475, approving a final plat and memorandum of agreement for Linear Industrial Park's third edition at 6000 Linear Avenue, Marion, Iowa, WFI Enterprises Incorporated and BJ's Investments, LLC.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 27475, approving the final plat and memorandum of agreement for Lynn Air Industrial Park, third edition. Discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion is approved. At this time, we have a public hearing on the proposed amendment to the West Tower Terrace Road Urban Renewal Area We're going to open the public hearing, take comments, but we will leave it open. We won't close the public hearing. Our staff has advised me that they still need to have some meetings with some of the other taxing entities about this measure. And so we won't close the public hearing. We'll open it up and just take comments and then bring it back at another time, right? Okay.
Yep.
So we're opening the public hearing. Is there anyone here to address this measure and address the council on this measure? Please come forward. This is the amendment of the West Tower Terrace Road Urban Renewal Area. Anyone either in favor or in opposition, please come forward. Okay. All right, so we will continue the public hearing. We won't close it. Just for the record, have we received any comments outside of this meeting?
My office has not received any.
Okay. Then it's probably the right thing to table the next item then. So would you like to make that motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion to table resolution number 27476, approving urban renewal plan amendment for West Tower Terrace Road Urban Renewal Area.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to table resolution number 27476, approving urban renewal plan amendment for West Tower Terrace Road Urban Renewal Area. Discussion on the motion to table. Okay. All those in favor of tabling, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved. At this time, we have a public forum, which is time set aside for comments from the public on any topic that is not listed on the agenda. If there's anyone here to address the council, you're welcome to come forward. Please speak into the microphone, state your name and address, and then please complete the yellow card so that we have that for the record. So, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Beth Combs, and I live at 4246 Churchill Drive in Marion. My husband Mike and I moved to Marion in 1996 with our 2 children, who now have homes of their own in Marion, and I have a few friends with me today as well. I'm here tonight to share with you my testimony and be an advocate for expeditiously implementing your 911 plans, where our operators are trained with the right software and tools to be able to support and give aid verbally to those that call in for 911 before the emergency personnel arrive. On Wednesday, December the 5th, my husband appeared to be having a heart attack at our home, and I called 911 at approximately 3 o'clock. I explained I thought my husband was having a heart attack and provided my address as requested. The operator told me help was on the way and that I needed to remain calm. That's a little bit difficult to do in that situation, but she reminded me again that help was on the way, and that was it. The call was over. By then, it wasn't like the movies where you stay on and get assistance. So by then, Mike had stopped breathing, and remembering some training I'd had probably 20 years ago, I started what I thought was CPR. I called my neighbor within a minute to see potentially maybe if they knew how to do CPR, more recently trained than I was. And she was not, but she did hear the sirens. And so I continued performing the CPR and remembering things like tilting their head back to get the air in their lungs, and I continued to do the compressions. The EMTs arrived into the driveway at 3:05. And I performed CPR for approximately 5 minutes on my husband, who would have probably either died in my arms that day or would have most likely suffered brain damage had I not started CPR, as according to the National Library of Medicine, some brain cells start dying with less than 5 minutes after depleted of oxygen. That day, Mike was shocked 3 times to get his heart working, and after 5 days in ICU and modern medicine miracles, we were moved to a cardiac floor where Mike continued to appear on his way to an eventual recovery. However, that was not to be the case, and we lost him on December the 13th, where he was in a stent procedure and his heart stopped pumping correctly, and they could not be revived. So while he's not here today to be a part of this advocacy, He knew of our story of December the 5th and wanted to help influence the need and timely support for staffing for Marion to be able to support those calling 911. The response time was incredible. The 5 minutes is amazing. However, those 5 minutes are also very crucial. And so I guess if this was your family member or a mother with a young child or an elderly person all alone or a situation of abuse or violence, I'm sure if it were you on the phone, you'd be horrified not to be able to stay on the phone and help that person as much as possible until that emergency personnel arrived. So I do understand that the city is planning for this type of 911 support where you do have the software and the tools and the resources to help those calling 911. Marion is a great city. We're growing. We have new hotels, new baseball complexes, new retirement communities. We're growing commercially and residentially. We have wonderful new development being planned, all of which bring more and more people to Marion. And I know that you want the very best, even for our current community and citizens. So I hope this testimony helps you make 911 support a top priority as quickly as possible. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I think on behalf of everyone up here, we're very sorry for your loss, and thank you for sharing that, your perspective on all this. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. If there's no one else to address the council, we'll move on to council discussion time. We're starting with Ms. Goodale.
No, I don't have anything.
I just would want to congratulate the Marion girls basketball team for making it to the state tournament next week. I know I said something about it Tuesday when I got here, but just this is more official from the council meeting. Congratulations, Marion girls. The boys played 7 tonight. Hopefully they will win and move on to state also. So that's all I have.
Okay. I just want to, I guess, extend a thank you, Mrs. Combs. I know it's difficult to stand before council, the public. Looks like you had some great support here tonight. I as well would like to be an advocate as well too for public safety. We are working on those things. We are working to try to secure the financing, the training, the tools and resources that we need. So I just want you to know that you'll probably have at least my support, and I can't imagine anybody else from the council not supporting those things. As our community does grow out and build out, we do need to be able to take our level of service to the next level on that telephone line. Just simple things. Are the individuals breathing? Do they need to be rolled over? Are they safe? Are they at risk of injuring themselves or creating more danger to themselves? Any of that and all of that would certainly make that 5 minutes go by a lot quicker for you. So as well too, our condolences to the loss of your husband. Let's try to keep this thing moving, and let's see if we can't put a face with this project. That'd be great. Thanks for your support that came out tonight as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been involved in some of the 9/11 meetings with the chiefs as we were talking about what the city needs to do, what the county needs to do. So clearly, over the next 1 to 5 years, we need to put a very concrete plan into place. I know the chief has presented a plan on how to expand that center, certainly a combination of training and staffing, and then we need to figure out how to fund that. And I know the chiefs, both chiefs will continue to find ways to improve the performance of the people that are there. So again, that's a very critical area. As we put together our 5-year plan, that is a very critical area that I also will plan to support.
Combs crew, all the way down to Lil Tyke, right? And Pam, just thanks for coming and really sharing your story. It was pretty powerful and something I think that we needed to hear. So thank you, and certainly in support of doing what we can to provide those services that are so important to our community members. So thank you.
being on your end of that personally, I'm agreeing with everyone else that we need to do the best we can, and we do the best we can. My life was saved by the firemen in the police department this year, and so I know how important it is to have someone on the line that you can talk with. That isn't what I want to talk about, though, Mayor. I always have something that's kind of important to me, and my son, Scott, just got back from Daytona. He went to the race, and I don't know how many of you have ever been to Daytona, but if you go to Daytona, go down on the beach and drive your car along there. It's like driving on fresh asphalt. To the point where in 1927, Daytona Beach held the speedway record of 231 miles an hour. That's how smooth that sand is down there. Well, Sunday we had a race where we ran these kind of cars. And the reason I bring them up is I'm going to give you a bar bet you can make some money on. Those, they didn't quite have, they did have a sellout crowd. Television was not all that great. That racetrack opened in 1958. Prior to that, they ran on sand. They ran on a sand oval on the beach. It all started because Prohibition, when the guys were building the cars and betting on Josh's or Lon's car can beat mine with a load of good stuff in the trunk quicker than yours. And that's how NASCAR started, was a result of Prohibition. But they did build the Speedway in 1958, and it's been used ever since. Denny Hamlin won this year, the second time in 4 years. Important for all you gals is, first year we've had gals in the pits. We had tire changers, including one black gal, which really opened up the change for the whole thing. My bar bet is this. My bar bet is, you've all seen those kind of cars. Who drove this kind of car and also won the Daytona 500 and the Indianapolis 500? Now, the chief would say probably somebody like A.J. Foyt. A.J. Foyt won a 500-mile road course race at Daytona and Indianapolis 4 times. But the only person that ever ran and won both races was Mario Andretti. Mario Andretti won the Daytona 500 and the Indianapolis 500. And believe me, if you can't make a few dollars in a bar on that one, you can't make it anywhere. So that was my story for tonight. Those of us that are interested in cars, it was a great weekend. Went towards the end of that race. If you watch races because of cars, they piled 22 up right at the end of the race. So it was tragic in that way. But we do have 2 young men from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, running in those races. And there aren't many racetracks in the United States that have 2 kids moving their way up. And it's really important to see it happen. So that's all I had tonight.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out this evening, and this will conclude our meeting. We're adjourned.